I honestly don't know how all this started, but I think I grew up thinking that if I was a kid that didn't ask for as much help, it made me a more appealing child to live with. Hey y'all, what's up? What's good? Hey fam, I hope you're doing fine. Welcome to yet another episode of the Evolve with Intent podcast. I appreciate you. It is such an honor for me that out of a million pieces of information on the internet, you take the time to listen into this particular podcast. It's people like you that make it worthwhile for me to come on here and sit and share. Because I remember I was having a few rough days, you know how life be is really, and of course among the things I was beating up myself about was this podcast. Okay, this is not going anywhere. It's not, because of course you want it to be at some level and you feel like, okay, that's dragging. And when this first one texted me, they said, oh, thank you for this episode. They were talking about the 26 life lessons from a 27-year-old episode. If you haven't, please go check it out. And I'm thinking, I'm like, isn't life funny? Which is a thing I thought I've been reflecting on, delayed gratification. I think we do these things because you think you're like, oh, I've written this awesome article, it's going to blow up, it's going to have 1 million views. Or I've recorded this episode, it's going to have 50 downloads, it's going to blow up and go viral. And in actual sense, that's not the reality of life and things, and at least for creators lately, really. And when I say people like you that listen in make this worthwhile, it's because I've learned that if I keep sharing authentically, genuinely, without quoting anything here, because at 6 months from now, today, tomorrow, 12 years from now, this podcast is going to be worth it because of people like you that listen in and are able to relate with whatever I'm sharing. So without any further ado, guys, I appreciate it. Let's just get into today's episode, yeah? Today's episode is a bit tricky, and if the shoe fits, please wear it. Because honestly, you know how I come on here and share from experience, or I was struggling with this, I found a solution, and this is how I can help you get through it. Today's episode is honestly more of like, I am shaking the table, but I am sitting on the table too, so you get. So I been dealing with a thing for a long time. A very, very long time. I've been reflecting and I noticed that it stemmed from like way back. Even when I had just finished high school or even uni, I was so obsessed with the idea that I need to be independent. I don't even know why, but bits of reflection that I got was that it's because I thought I am less problematic. People don't have to feel like I'm more of a burden, like someone else who does ask for help, like on the things that you're even able to do yourself. And honestly, I feel like I bottled a lot of that because I thought it made me more likable and more appealing. People would rather hang with me or accept me or take me in because I don't ask for as much help. And I just wanted to come on here, guys, and knock all of us out of the park and say to you that closed mouths do not get fed. I know you've seen that line around. I just wanted to come on here and rub it in that if you are hungry, speak up. I'm saying this to you, to myself as well, because guys, I cannot tell you how hard it is for me to ask for help. Like, I could be dying, like, and this has happened to me a number of times. Like, I could be on the edge of take for example food. I do not have anything to eat in my house, and there are people that I know if I just said hi, are you, they would, but because I am either too embarrassed or feel like I would be so much of a problem, so I just of course I understand that it's a process for people who are wired like this for a long time. I'm saying that from experience, really. I understand it's not a pattern or a system you easily just break loose in your head by just the utterance of, learn to speak up, ask for help. I've been sharing with a couple of friends about the same issue, how easy it is for them to ask for help. Now, men say, I am a man who is coming to save me. How do I even begin to ask for help? I just have to suck it in, be a man, and Women, on the other hand, say, you're a woman, you're supposed to be given. If you don't have, you're supposed to be helped. If you don't have energy to carry this jerry can from point A to point B, ask for help. Like, of course, cases are different, personalities are different, so our perspectives. But today's episode really is to tell you to learn to ask for help if you are someone who is afraid of asking for help, because in our heads you think you're more likable. Yet I've seen people constantly ask for help, get the help, and have an easy life. You, while you're there, good, strong soldier, independent, you have it going your way, you don't ask for help, you hang in there. Why are you struggling for no reason? And for me, that's where my head is at right now. I'm like, why am I struggling when I could just speak up? Because when you have people in your life, these are people who care about you truly. And that's among the things I want to share today about how to easily ask for help really is, if you know you have people who care about you truly, they honestly do not have an issue offering help when they can. I have a friend who usually says, I am here for anything that you need if I can't help. That if I can't help sort of feels like, like watch out if I can. It always feels like a warning, like if I can help, I will. And it's, of course, I know it's a joke, but if you've successfully built a strong support system around you, people that truly care about you and would do anything to save the day for you, I don't see why you want to be good, strongest soldier in the name of independence. I have my things going, I'm less problematic, I'm not much of a burden like other people are. There is no reward for you at the end of the month. I have been telling myself that each time. I'm like, let me not bother them. But then I'm like, there is no salary for being the less needy or the one who didn't ask for help. So, madam, speak up. I also want to acknowledge the fact that for you to actually come through and ask for help requires you to be vulnerable. Put yourself in an exposed space for you to say, I don't have this and I need help. I am not able to pull this off and I may need your help, which a lot of us we are not easily willing to give up that power to someone else and say, hey, I don't, and most of the time, while we are afraid of being judged, we are also afraid of coming off as if we don't have our life together. It sort of exposes you. People start thinking maybe you're incompetent or you're not good enough, or in whichever space really. It could be at work, it could be with your family members, with your friends, in your relationship. There's unlimited ways for you to be able to ask and receive help. And I totally understand where one would be coming from with that. But it's also important to understand that I think that's why we're not alone. That's why as a human race, we crave companionship. We're always craving relationship, emotion. You want love and care, because as much as you're not saying, I want you to love me, you're forming friendships with your friends at work, at home, in your community, because we need each other, even when it's not direct, okay, can you be my friend? I don't want to be alone. I want to hang out. One way or the other, we coexist to support each other. But again, I also understand that there is healthy asking for help and then unhealthy asking for help. As much as I understand that it is wrong for me to say that, it makes me less appealing. But there are points where it also gets to a point of okay, now you're just begging. You're not asking for help. You're constantly just sitting on your back and hoping that someone is coming to save you. You want to do all these things, buy a car, build a house, you have work, but you're not willing to even put in the work yourself to get to a point where I say, I've done 70%, but I need help with the 5% to make 75, and carry on. So there is healthy asking for help, but then there's an unhealthy amount of you're just lazy, you're just a responsibility. And honestly, I know that's what ruins a lot of relationships. And I don't mean relationships man woman, I mean relationships in the workspace, person A, person B. And I want to emphasize that to ask for help, you need to be giving help as well. Like, you can't be the person who's constantly asking for help. When time comes or when tables turn, you're not the kind that offers help. So honestly, I think asking for help and receiving help are a two-way thing. Like, you give me, I give you. You help me today, I help you tomorrow. Like a support system. Like, you fill my cup, I fill your cup. It shouldn't be a one-sided, because eventually people get tired. Like, I have my own life to live. I have my own things going on. I cannot be supporting you all the time. I can't be helping you all the time, whether financially, emotionally, physically, whichever way, whichever form of support you may need. You have to understand that to receive, you have to give first. So if you're struggling to ask for help, here is a few tips that I am trying to embrace over time, and I hope they help. One is I am very blessed to have a very strong support system, really. People that would save the day any day if I called in crying, because I'm like, okay, they would know that, okay, today John is crying for this, for that. It's bad. So build a strong support system. And while you build that strong support system, I hope you are that, which is something I said before. Like, are you reliable like that for people to say, oh, John has called, I have to, go and save the day today? Are you that person that's worthy of dropping everything? And, so the best way to ask for help is to make sure you are the same for other people. Then it will be easy for you to not feel some sort of guilt, like, oh, how do I ask for help from person X, because you know deep inside that you've not been there for them. So it's, of course, it has that weird air of like, maybe you've not even talked to them in 3 years, and all of a sudden you just pop up, hi, I have an emergency, can I borrow your car? I need to go to... Nigga, no, I don't know you like that. Oh, and by the way, I also read an article on the internet that was saying something about the experiences we go through as children, and that feeling of independence, that sort of like you badly want to like be by yourself and like, not depend on like your parents or friends or whatever, is as a result of some of the things that happened to you as a child. Honestly, I can't quite put a finger to it that what happened to me as a child that I turned out this way. But it's also important to acknowledge that most of these things are just, for lack of a better word, are just traumatic reactions from what you witnessed as a child. Maybe you saw your siblings who were needy come off as your parents sort of like kept scolding them about, hey, can't you do this yourself? How parents be frustrated and stressed out, and then there is this kid who can't tie their shoelaces, who can't, eat their own food. Like you see them frustrated about the fact that they constantly have to cater for their needs. It sort of affects you in a way that now you tie your own laces. You're like, mommy likes me more because I can do my own laces, wash my own uniform, I do my own homework, because she's constantly complaining about your other sibling who is constantly in need of it. It roots back to you. I read that it does root back to you as an adult, and partly that's how we end up with this whole you'd rather die than speak up. But again, here we are. I've had a bunch of people say it. Speak up, ask for help. You don't have to do this whole life thing alone. That's why we're 1 billion people in the world. If we could do life alone, I don't know, it would totally be a different dimension. That's why we have doctors. That's why, so you're a teacher, you need help with your sick child, you go see a doctor. The level of independence should have levels to it. Like, okay, here, this I can manage my own. At this point, I should be willing to ask for help. But again, I want to emphasize that as much as you ask for help, be willing to give help. Are you worthy of receiving help? Are you the kind of person that people can count on to say, oh, if I help Joanne, she'll be able to help me out the next time as well? So, guys, speak up. Closed mouths do not get fed. I am repeating that song in my head each time I find myself in a tight spot, and I'd rather go to my bed and hide away than speaking up like, hey, can you help me, I hope this helps. I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye.